Hello, this is Keith, welcoming you to the 2104th edition of the Enfield Talking newspaper, Dateline the 6th of July 2017. The readers this week are Janet, Sally, Colin and Keith, with Robin on the controls. The editor was Janet and the production and distribution team is Alan, Ali and Phillip. Our title music is Country Rock Polka, composed by Pat Prilly, Ferdinand Bouillon and Harry Breur, and performed by Jean-Jacques Perry. It's used with his kind permission. The local news stories that we will be reading come from our local newspapers, the Enfield Gazette and Advertiser and the Enfield Independent, and are their copyright. The events information has been collated by us from other sources. The local news headlines this week include Drug Dealing Trio Sent to Jail and Shocking, Thug Who brutally Beat Elderly Neighbour Jailed. Before the news, we have one or two special news items and notices. First, the sunrise and sunset times for tomorrow, which is the 7th of July, are sunrise 4:52, sunset 21:17. First, a note about the annual general meeting of the Enfield Talking newspaper, which will take place at St Andrew's Church Hall, Enfield, on Monday the 24th of July at 7:30 p.m. All are welcome to attend. Now, we've been asked by Alan Watson from Enfield Council to read out the following regarding the project taking place in Ponders End, and it's regarding high street improvements and road closures. Enfield Council is making a huge investment in Ponders End to make it a better place to live, work and visit. To enable this, we will be closing off the junction of Ponders End High Street, Derby Road, Lincoln Road and South Street for a 6-week period starting from the 24th of July. The road closure will ensure that the works are carried out swiftly, safely and effectively. The whole area will be fully accessible to pedestrians. There will be changes to bus routes 191, 279, N279, 349, 377 and 491. The College Court car park will be closed and there will be temporary on-street parking restrictions. We are looking to provide replacement spaces. All businesses will remain open during the period. There may be some changes to waste collections. If you want more detailed information, please look at the Enfield Council website. Now, there's some new audio descriptions at the Tate Modern. Join us for a special series of artist-led tours of the Tate Modern collection for blind and partially sighted visitors. These are led by practicing artists, and we will use audio descriptions, raised images, handling objects and group discussion to discover new artworks and ideas. The first one is on Wednesday the 26th of July with Sally Booth. In the studio, exploring intimacy and intensity. Work made in the studio can be intimate or monumental. In this audio descriptive tour, visually impaired artist Sally Booth selects a variety of portraits, paintings and sculptures from the Tate collection while exploring themes of intimacy and intensity. And on Wednesday the 23rd of August with Aaron McPeak. Touching between object and architecture. Connect with objects and architecture and think about the spaces we inhabit and the materials that surround us. Based in the display between object and architecture, this audio description tour will use hepatic aids and handling objects to help describe the works within the room. All tours are from 1600 hours to 1730. Please join us in the community room from 15:30 hours for tea and cake. To find us, please come to the Blavatnik entrance. I'll spell that. It's Blavatnik, the Blavatnik entrance on the south side of the building off Sumner Street. The community room is at the end of the terrace bar. No booking is required. The tours take place seated in the gallery. Sighted companions and guide dogs are welcome. The events are fully supported by trained audio describers. Hearing loops and amplifiers are available. If you have any other access needs that you would like to let us know about, please contact Anna Murray, Assistant Curator. Her website is Anna, A-N-N-A, Murray, M-U-R-R-A-Y, at tate.org.uk, or you can phone her on 020 7887 8888. Now Janet will give you some travel information.
Getting there. The address is Tate Modern, Bankside, London, SE1 9TG. By car, you can book an accessible parking space if required. Please remember you need to book your space before coming. For more information, please visit our website or telephone 020 7887 8888. By taxi, a drop-off pick-up point is situated on Holland Street, just outside the main entrance. By tube, Southwark Jubilee Line, 600 metres approximately, Blackfriars District and Circle Line, 800 metres, St Paul's Central Line, 1,100 metres. Buses. Routes 45, 63 and 100 stop on Blackfriars Bridge Road. RV1 and 381 stop Southwark Street. 344 stop Southwark Bridge Road. Train, Blackfriars 300 metres from the south exit. Train 800 metres from the north exit. London Bridge 1,800 metres. By boat, the Tate boat runs every 40 minutes between Tate Britain and Tate Modern. Other river services run between Millbank Pier and Bankside Pier. Do get in touch with us to share your own news and special announcements. We love to hear from you. If you have any comments about the Enfield Talking newspaper, please phone Diane de Jersey on 0208 805 6578. She is your listener's representative and she will be pleased to help you. Now Sally will read the first item of local news.
Drug dealing trio sent to jail. An Enfield man was one of 3 drug dealers caught with thousands of pounds worth of cocaine and jailed. Ermel Tito, Elton Kanani and Ari Kurdi were sentenced at Wood Green Crown Court on Friday the 30th of June. Elton Kanani, aged 41, of Higham Station Avenue, Chingford, pleaded guilty to possession with intent to supply drugs and was jailed for 6 years and 7 months. Ermal Tito, aged 28, of Gainsborough House, Ailey Croft, Enfield, pleaded guilty to 2 counts of possession with intent to supply and possession of criminal property and was jailed for 9 years and 4 months. Ardy Kurdi, aged 31, of Lexington Place, Kingston upon Thames, was charged with possession with intent to supply drugs, possession of criminal property, and production of cannabis. He pleaded guilty and was jailed for 5 years. The 3 men were also subject to confiscation orders. Kanani was arrested on April the 26th after officers from the Met's Organised Crime Command observed an exchange between him and Tito in Friar Barnet. After stopping Kanani in his car, officers found 4 kilograms of cocaine with a street value of up to £400,000 and arrested him for possession of Class A drugs. 2 kilograms of cocaine worth up to £199,000 were recovered during a search of Kanani's home in Chingford. He was charged with possession with intent to supply. On May the 18th, officers observed an exchange in Teddington when they saw Kurdi get into Tito's car with 2 bags and emerge carrying 3 different bags. Police found a sophisticated hidden compartment in Tito's car between the boot and the back seats, which contained £50,000 of cash. He was arrested on suspicion of 2 counts of supplying drugs and possession of criminal property. Police also found a similar compartment in Curdy's car containing 2 kilograms of cocaine worth up to £199,000. They also found £3,000 worth of cash and arrested Curdy for possession of criminal property and later for the possession with intent to supply drugs. DC Dave Murphy from the Met's Organised Crime Command said, "These sentences reflect the level of criminality involved, and they should act as a deterrent for other drug dealers who think that they can supply illegal drugs without consequence. These men went to great lengths to adapt their vehicles in an attempt to avoid detection, and officers recovered a large amount of Class A drugs, which is now off the streets and cannot do damage to communities."
This headline says one word: shocking. Thug who brutally beat elderly neighbour during robbery, jailed. An Enfield man who carried out a frenzied attack on a vulnerable 79-year-old woman neighbour with dementia as he burgled her home was jailed for 20 years. The victim was found in a distressed state with a plastic tape ligature around her neck. She suffered 2 loose teeth, bruising to her entire face and grazes to her right elbow. Because of her dementia, when she was taken to hospital, she recalled nothing of the incident and believed she was there for a checkup. Terence Rocks, 52, of Priors Mead, was sent to prison for 20 years for attempted grievous bodily harm and 5 years for burglary, the sentences to run concurrently. The crime has been described by the detective who investigated it as one of the most shocking he has dealt with in his career. Sentencing Rocks, Judge John Bevan described his defence, in which he created a fictitious character called Ned, who he claimed had carried out the assault, as laughable. Speaking after Rocks was sentenced, Detective Constable Joel Gregory from Enfield's Major Crime Unit said he was pleased Rocks had received a lengthy jail term which reflected the heinous nature of his crime. Throughout the court process, he has refused to admit his guilt, creating a series of lies in an attempt to cover up his actions. This was one of the most shocking attacks on a vulnerable person that I have seen during my time in the police. Thankfully, the victim did not sustain any long-term injuries. As a result of her dementia, the victim remembers nothing of what she was subjected to. Thanks to the assistance of the victim's neighbour and the quick thinking of the officers who arrived first on scene, we were able to secure valuable evidence which meant this case could proceed without the victim's account, added Detective Con Gregory. Police were called to the elderly victim's home by a distressed member of the public at 11:59 a.m. on Saturday, March the 4th this year. Officers found her covered in blood with tape tightly wrapped around her neck. She was able to name her attacker as one of her neighbours, Rocks. Police forced entry to his home nearby and found a ring belonging to the victim on the floor of his hallway. Rocks was not present and was arrested a short while later as he returned to his home. Blood on his hands was later shown through DNA tests as belonging to the victim, along with blood on other items of his clothing. Officers who searched Rocks found other stolen items from the victim's address in his pockets. Inquiries revealed he had entered the victim's address via a communal hallway and then the front door at about 11:30 a.m. He punched the victim in the head and placed a length of tape around her neck and squeezed. He then removed the victim's jewellery and left. The victim then alerted her neighbour about what had happened.
Knife bin yields haul of weapons, including axe. This is the haul of knives and weaponry recovered from the Edmonton knife bin in the latest cull. And there's a picture here of the fearsome haul of weapons surrendered to the knife bin, which includes an axe. A police spokesman said 12 more knives were recovered after a search of our dedicated knife drop bin in Edmonton Police Station. The bin stands in the front office in Edmonton Police Station in 4 Street in a bid to persuade youngsters carrying blades to get rid of them, anonymously if necessary. The Met's Sceptre operation urged people to give up their knives across the capital to help save lives. The knife bin is still situated in the station office, open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to deposit knives and sharp articles. The frightening image was released on the same day that Mayor of London Sadiq Khan launched a new knife crime strategy with Metropolitan Police Commissioner Cressida Dick. It states that every school in London will be offered a metal detecting wand as part of new plans to reduce knife crime. New community sentences will be introduced for those convicted of knife possession, while an extra £625,000 has been pledged for knife crime projects. Mr. Khan said the strategy brings together organisations and communities to solve this problem. The extra money pledged will increase the total spending by the Mayor's Office for Policing and Crime on knife and gang projects to more than £7 million. Enfield North MP Joan Ryan warmly welcomed the Mayor's new plan, saying that on top of that, Enfield Police had been promised 21 extra officers for the borough by the end of the year. She said, "We all know the horrific consequences of knife crime here in Enfield, and we are all working to stop young people carrying knives." Having discussed these issues directly with Sadiq Khan in Enfield and at City Hall, his new plan is a really important step forward in helping to address the scourge of knife crime on our streets. Working with the Mayor of London, our community has been able to secure a commitment to get 21 more local ward-based officers in place by the end of this year to help fight this problem. And I'll be working alongside Sadiq, local residents and community groups, as well as the police, to help put this strategy into action. Instead of dragging its feet on this issue, the government needs to buck up its ideas, support the Mayor's plan, and reverse the cuts to our youth services and police to help keep our neighbourhoods safe.
Rajasthani is learning Braille after losing sight and sound. And we've got a lovely picture of her with her brother-in-law, Steve Holding, and our own Diane de Jersey. An inspirational woman from Palmer's Green has triumphed over disability by learning Braille. Rajasthani, 51, was born deaf with Usher's syndrome, a hereditary disease which can cause further hearing and loss of vision. She had tunnel vision resulting in blind spots until the age of 35. Since then, she has found it increasingly difficult to interact through British Sign Language. Rajasthani learnt hands-on signing, placing her hands over someone else's as they sign to establish which words they are spelling out. Weekly Braille sessions were provided with help from a £5,000 Santander Discovery Grant, which was awarded to Enfield Disability Action's Deaf Project in partnership with Enfield Vision. Rajasthani started learning Braille for an hour each week from January to May with tutor Diane de Jersey, chairwoman of Enfield Vision, who is also blind. Rajasthani required help from her daughter and brother-in-law Steve, who acted as interpreters to communicate instructions from Diane through hands-on signing. Deaf project manager Mary White and Simone Rickard, both from Enfield Disability Action, also helped to interpret through hands-on signing. "It was a challenge," explained Diane from Ponder's End, but Rajasthani was able to pick up things very quickly and we worked together. Diane first tested whether Rajasthani had enough sensitivity in her fingertips to feel the raised dots on the Braille. After this was established, Diane started teaching her to read the alphabet from A to J on blocks containing each Braille letter. Diane gave a verbal instruction to Rajasthani's daughter or brother-in-law on the letter she was feeling, and this would be communicated to her through hands-on signing. Rajasthani would then touch a block containing a letter and the process was repeated. Diane also used a Perkins Braille machine, which is similar to a typewriter, but each key produces a letter in Braille on embossed paper. Rajasthani can now read the full alphabet as well as numbers, as is learning to read using Braille blocks, which can be rearranged to form different words. Rajasthani also tested on the words and replied by making a noise through her mouth, which Diane understood, or by relaying the answer through hands-on signing with her family. In just 5 months, she had learnt Stage 1 in Braille, a remarkable achievement, which has given her some independence so she can label food at home, colour coordinate clothes, and label the recycling bin. The next step will be for her to learn how to use the Perkins Braille so she can form her own words and sentences and eventually learn to read books in Braille. Hopefully, the sky's the limit, added brother-in-law Steve.
Cladding safety checks. 5 Enfield Council-owned tower blocks covered with cladding are to undergo a further round of fire safety checks. Despite none of Enfield's 54 high-rise blocks were found to be covered with the same material as that of Grenfell Tower, the additional in-depth checks have been deemed necessary. Following the completion of the initial inspection and audit on Friday, June the 16th, checks on 5 undisclosed rain screen cladding covered council blocks will be conducted with the London Fire Brigade. A council spokesman said, "It has been more than a fortnight since the terrible fire at Grenfell Tower, and like you, we are still coming to terms with the enormity of the tragedy. The well-being of our residents is always our number one priority, and since the terrible events in Kensington, we have been working tirelessly to confirm that our tower blocks are safe. These inspections complemented our programme of annual fire risk assessments and were in addition to the checks our caretakers do to every tower block every day to ensure any issues are addressed promptly. No Enfield Council tower block has the type of cladding used on Grenfell Tower or contains aluminium composite material as per the cladding currently being tested by the government for fire safety."
Fox facelift plans unveiled. There's a picture in this article of what a revamped Enfield pub could look like if Dutch brewers Heineken get their way. Star Pubs and Bars, part of Heineken, want to redevelop the Fox in the heart of Palmer's Green and held a public consultation in the historic Boozer where people could see the elaborate plans and give feedback. Much to locals' relief, the drawings remain sympathetic to the original building, which is a distinctive landmark dating back to the 1800s. As well as updating the dilapidated pub, the developers want to convert the sprawling car park into flats with a high-quality retail or restaurant unit and provide a new function room to allow the Electric Mouse Comedy Club, dance classes and Talkies community cinema to continue. The Comedy Club, Talkies and the Vintage Blues Music Association regularly attract crowds of more than 100. David Williamson, founder of the Talkies Community Cinema, said he had yet to see the detailed plans. John Gilbert, head of estates at Star Pubs and Bars, said, "We are excited to come forward with plans that protect and enhance the existing heritage of the fox, while securing its long-term future by providing a community-focused pub with great food and improved function room facilities. Last year, we announced our intention to significantly invest in the Fox, to refurbish the pub building and improve the pub's offer. Over the past 9 months, we have been in discussion with a wide range of residents and groups to better understand the local aspirations for the pub. The original pub that featured in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban stands on the corner of Green Lanes and Fox Lane and was a 2-storey building dating back to the 1800s. It was rebuilt on the same spot in 1904 with the addition of a further floor. Mr. Gilbert added, "We are passionate supporters of the Great British Pub and believe that vibrant pubs are places where people of all ages and backgrounds can come together. The Fox's status as an asset of community value demonstrates its importance to the residents of Palmer's Green. As part of the proposals, a new function room will be provided along with improved facilities to ensure that the Fox remains at the heart of the community. We will continue to work closely with local groups, residents and Enfield Council up until the submission of the application. Following the public consultation, there will be a feedback period during which the development team will evaluate all comments received before plans are finalised and a planning proposal submitted to the council. The pub became the first in Enfield to be named an asset of community value in 2015 after an application by the Southgate Civic District Trust, which means it has added protection from development.
Prison sentence for Islamophobic assault on teen. Thug slapped young woman in face. Shocking mobile phone footage of a race-hate thug slapping a Muslim teenage girl in the face with an open packet of bacon in an Islamophobic attack in Enfield has been released by police. The teenage victim was walking along Hertford Road with her mother at about 4:40 p.m. on Thursday, June the 8th, when she was approached by Alex Chivers, who shouted, "ISIL scum and you deserve this," before hitting her in the face with an open packet of bacon. The 36-year-old of Bryanston Road, Waltham Cross, was jailed for 26 weeks for assault and for 12 weeks for a public order offence. The sentence is to run concurrently when he appeared at Highbury Corner Magistrates Court. Friends of Chivers were present at the time of the attack, and one of them filmed it on his mobile phone. The video can be seen on the Advertiser's website at www.enfield-today.co.uk. The victim, who was distressed but not injured, reported the unprovoked, racially motivated attack to police, and Chivers was arrested 6 days later. He was charged with 1 count of racially or religiously aggravated common assault and 1 count of causing racially or religiously aggravated alarm or distress. He pleaded guilty and was bailed to return to court for sentencing. Chivers was also ordered to pay a £115 victim surcharge and complete a 12-month supervision order when he is released on licence. Detective Constable James Payne from Enfield Community Safety Unit said, "This was a truly shocking incident. The victim was out with her mother and getting on with her day when Chivers abused her and then set upon her with something he knew would both upset and offend her. We know other people were present during the attack, including an associate of Chivers who filmed the incident. Inquiries are ongoing to trace these people, and if you have any information that may assist in identifying them, please contact the Community Safety Unit at Enfield via 101. The Community Safety Unit here in Enfield encourages all victims of hate crime to contact police so that the culprits can be identified and brought to justice."
Fundraising doc puts his bare feet forward. A doctor is hoping to kickstart a huge fundraising campaign at the hospital where he works by running up and down one of the highest points in the British Isles, barefoot. Dr. Yanni Papasterov, 47, is gearing up for the Snowdon race on July 15, a 10-mile run up and down the highest summit in England and Wales. The research scientist works in the Department of Radiography and Medical Physics at North Middlesex University Hospital in Edmonton. He is part of a team that uses the latest image-guided techniques to treat cancer patients by precisely targeting tumours while sparing nearby healthy organs. But now the technology is dated, and they are bidding to raise $1.5 million for a new radiography CT scanner. Dr. Yanni, who lives in Leighton, East London, believes it is the first time anyone has attempted the Snowdon race, one of Europe's toughest endurance challenges, without footwear. He's had more than 13 years injury-free long-distance barefoot running. But even for him, the Snowdon race will present a remarkable challenge. He said, "It will be hard. My mother lives in Snowdonia, and I tried running up and down some local mountains recently. So when I heard about the 42nd International Snowdon Race, one of the toughest and most popular races in the fell running year, it seemed a perfect opportunity to do something out of the ordinary. A daredevil challenge to raise money and awareness for the fund we are launching for our cancer patients." Running barefoot is not simply a novelty gimmick to raise money. Dr. Yanni is a passionate believer in the virtues of barefoot running. "I started running barefoot after almost giving up running in my 30s due to injury issues, problems with my knees and Achilles tendon and lower back pain that prevented me from running distances longer than half marathons. After slowly transitioning into running barefoot in 2004, I've managed to complete several marathons."
Sunshine and music add up to a splendid day out. A live music extravaganza was the perfect accompaniment to an afternoon picnic at Forty Hall. Up to 3,000 visitors enjoyed the annual Music on the Lawn in the picturesque grounds of the Jacobean mansion in Forty Hill, Enfield. Proceeds will be used to restore the pond island next to Forty Hall House, and more than £400 from a raffle will be donated to the wildlife sanctuary at Trent Park in Cockfosters. Music artists topping the bill included Palmer's Green jazz singer Maria Evangelou, skiffle band the London Bonnevilles, members of Southgate Opera, Odyssey Blue and Bazooka Joe's band. Pupils from the Groove Band at Enfield Grammar School in Enfield Town entertained with rock and pop music, and the Bavetta and Selborne Quartet from Enfield Music Service performed on stage. Other attractions included a bouncy castle, face painting, craft stalls, and bee, butterfly and ladybird workshops, as well as a Pim's drink tent, clay oven pizza and pancakes. The event was organised in partnership with Forty Hall House and Enfield Council's Parks Department. "It was an outstanding event," said Joanne Brown, event organiser and Friends of Forty Hall Park committee member. "Everyone enjoyed themselves, the children loved it, and we raised money for different projects every year."
Chapter may close on Wonky Church, Lychgate, a much-loved landmark that for a century has been the gateway for worshippers attending a church desperately needs to be restored, and now an appeal has been launched. Lychgate in St John's Church, Clay Hill, will cost around £41,000 to repair. The gate was built at the end of the First World War, with its construction funded by donations. For 100 years, it has served to commemorate the 88 parishioners who lost their lives in the 1914 to 1918 conflict. But now, the two large oak beams of which the main frame is made are now at a decidedly wonky angle. Framework joints were repairable, but its increasing tilt was not so. So the diocese instructed the gate to be taken down for safety reasons a few weeks ago. The Bishop of Willesden blessed Lychgate in July 1930.
Pupils go the extra mile in healthy competition. Heartline project was borough-wide. An innovative project encouraging primary school children to become more active has won a council-led borough-wide competition for coming up with the most interesting ideas. Chesterfield School won first prize with their unique Heartline, a red line painted round the edges of their playground. The children would run around it every day, and it's 1/10 of a mile in length. Each pupil does 10 laps of the line, the equivalent of 1 mile. Enfield Council's Cabinet Member for Community Safety and Public Health, Councillor Crystal Fonyonga, said, "This was a fantastic competition which challenged primary schools to find new, interesting and innovative ways of encouraging pupils to be more active. This competition forms part of our Move More campaign, which looks at ways of encouraging residents of all ages to remain active. It's all about making simple health choices." Creative Chesterfield school teachers also incorporate classroom workouts into their lessons. The school was rewarded with a visit to Enfield's Jump In trampoline park as their prize. Hazelwood School Palmers Green came second for their commitment to playing break time games and employing a specialist physical exercise teacher to increase the range of sports available. Worcester School Enfield came third, with their idea of encouraging pupils to record and report activity they did during half-term holidays. Prizes for second and third places were family gym passes and a session at Whiteweb's Golf Club, respectively.
There's a picture here of a very happy Nadine with a £10,000 cheque. Parents know all about pester power, and one Edmonton mum, who could no longer stand the relentless nagging from one of her children, found herself £10,000 richer. Nadine Mahout, who was badgered by her football-mad 10-year-old son Kea to enter a modern version of the old Spot the Ball competition, which used to appear in newspapers. He'd been watching the F2 freestylers soccer duo on YouTube. They perform football tricks, and he'd been talking about the online game, explained Nadine. After he heard them, he just wouldn't stop going on about it and pestering me to play the game. Eventually, he wore me down, and what a good job he did. The 38-year-old mum of two, an avid Tottenham Hotspur fan like her son, had to judge where the football should be in a photograph of a soccer match by placing a dot representing the centre of the ball. She won that week's Spot Cash jackpot prize after a panel of former referees and footballers, led by ex-Arsenal and England goalkeeper David Seaman, judged she had placed her dot closest to the exact position where they agreed the ball should be. Nadine said she was almost speechless when she found out she had won £10,000. "I've never won anything before," she said. "I was in complete shock." She is planning to spend the cash on a family holiday and renovating the garden.
This is a letter from Jonathan Jenkins, who is the CEO of London's Air Ambulance. As I come to the end of my first 60 days as CEO of London's Air Ambulance, I would like to emphasise the importance of local support to our charity and share some words of thanks with the people of Enfield. It's a great feeling when you find out a company has donated a large sum of money to the charity, but it is vital never to lose sight of our grassroots supporters. To me, a local cake sale is just as important as a big corporate partnership. The money raised by communities goes towards delivering our advanced trauma team via helicopter or rapid response car to critically injured people across the capital, and it's thanks to your help that London's air ambulance was able to treat 76 people in Enfield last year. Now we need your help to raise awareness of our charity status. Whilst 8 out of 10 people have heard of the London's air ambulance service, around 2/3 of people in London are not sure or don't think that London's air ambulance is a charity. This is a massive hurdle to overcome as we try to gain more support, and may be explained by the fact that, on average, people believe 47% of our funding comes from either the NHS, central government or local government. In reality, we receive most of our income from public donations. People also believe that we exist to transport people to hospital or from hard-to-access areas, when in actual fact we deliver a doctor and paramedic to a patient's side to deliver treatment only usually found in a hospital emergency department. This includes open chest surgery, anaesthesia, blood transfusions and advanced pain relief. Over the past few years, the charity has focused on acquiring a second helicopter and securing extended daylight flying hours. With these aims achieved, we will now focus on the challenge of increasing awareness of our charitable status. It is the work you do in promoting fundraising or volunteering in your local community that helps spread the message that we rely on public donations. Together, I know we can carry on helping critically injured people in London. Finally, a huge thank you for everything you have already done for London's air ambulance. It is down to you that we have treated more than 36,000 patients in our 28 years of service.
Winchmore Hill fall short in victory bid. A frustrating day for Winchmore Hill saw them have to settle for a winning draw from their trip to Uxbridge in Division 3 of the Kingspan Middlesex County Cricket League. Inform Hill completely dominated the match, but were just unable to take the final wicket as Uxbridge closed on 174 for 9 in reply to their 287 for 4. A second wicket partnership of 198 between Morgan Pryor and Jim Gattin set Hill up for their substantial score, while skipper De La Rey to Blanche chipped in with 45. Abbas Eas made 52 as Uxbridge's reply got off to a good start, but they fell away badly in the face of some fine bowling from Jack Irwin, Jack Henson and Gatting, and only a defiant 22 not out of 74 balls from Dheeraj Kula enabled them to avoid defeat. Meanwhile, Enfield remains second in Division 2 despite slumping to a shock 14-run defeat at lowly North London. Dan Ameddi and Lee Robertson did well with the ball for the visitors, as North London were dismissed for a seemingly below par total of 171. But Max Houlihan, 74, was the only man to make any impact with the bat for Enfield, and an alarming collapse saw their last 6 wickets fall for the addition of just 19 runs as they were bowled out for 157. And Southgate are still rooted to the foot of the Premier Division, following their 6-wicket defeat at home to Hampstead. Michael Stevens top scoring with 36, as they were bowled out for just 145 before the visitors eased to 146 for 4 in reply.
Prince meets pupils during school visit. It's not every day you get to meet a real prince in the flesh, but that's just what happened to pupils at an Edmonton primary school. Prince Andrew met and chatted with youngsters on a visit to Meridian Angel School in Albany Road. The Duke of York was there to see the Church of England School's new modern building, which it moved into in January, to accommodate more pupils and provide state-of-the-art facilities. The Prince toured the building, met teachers and spoke with pupils in years 2 and 5. He also addressed a school assembly and unveiled a plaque commemorating his visit. He was accompanied by Anne Cable, Deputy Lieutenant of Enfield, Mayor of Enfield Christine Hamilton, Archdeacon of Hampstead the Venerable John Hawkins, and other representatives of the Diocese of London, the Department for Education, the Education Funding Agency, and a number of head teachers. The school opened in 2014 and was originally located in temporary accommodation at St John the Evangelist Church in Dysons Road, Edmonton. It still maintains close links with the parish church. It's located on the doorstep of one of the largest regeneration projects in the UK, the £3.5 billion Meridian Water Development, which is providing 10,000 new homes and workspace on a former waterfront industrial site. We were really pleased to be able to welcome Prince Andrew to our school, said head teacher Cheryl Milner. The pupils were very excited to meet and speak with him, and I hope he enjoyed the tour of our new classrooms and facilities, which show how far our school has come in such a short space of time. The Archdeacon of Hampstead said that the school's Christian ethos had been built to transform the lives of all children and this community. It is here open and welcoming to those families who will become part of the new community being created in Meridian Water, he added.
I've got a picture here of some students smiling gleefully from Woodpecker Hall School. Glee Club winners make a right song and dance of it. Youngsters celebrated success after being crowned the borough's top performers at a singing and dancing competition in the West End. Pupils from Woodpecker Hall Primary Academy in Nightingale Road battled it out against 20 schools from Edmonton Glee at the Piccadilly Theatre. The competition was organised by the Edmonton Schools Partnership, which works together to raise aspirations and provide opportunities for children in the area. The partnership commissioned Pineapple Performing Arts to deliver weekly Glee clubs based on the music and singing from the American hit series Glee. Youngsters were also presented with the Pitch Perfect Award for outstanding vocal performances on the night, and 2 lucky pupils won scholarships at the prestigious Performing Arts School Pineapple Dance Studios in Covent Garden. More than 400 parents, teachers and pupils attended a special school assembly to congratulate the youngsters, who were presented with a gold trophy by head teacher David Penkert. Pupils from the school's Glee Club performed a selection of their winning songs, including Best Day of My Life by American authors. I'm extraordinarily proud of the children, said Mr. Penkert. They have brought tremendous credit to the school and to themselves with their talent and the sheer hard work they put into rehearsals over many weeks.
Figures show Borough a hotbed of complaints. Residents in the borough are the 5th most active complainers in the capital when it comes to consumer rights over poor service, according to figures from a not-for-profit research company. According to analysis Ombudsman Services carried out in 2016, there were 344 energy and communications complaints that year from people in Enfield. Not far behind the Enfield public in the complaint stakes were those of neighbouring borough Haringey, who were in 6th place with 333. Barnet topped the London-wide list with 494 complaints. Ombudsman Services is independent and impartial and resolves disputes outside of courts at no cost to the consumer. For more information, visit Ombudsman Services at www.ombudsman.co.uk. ombudsman-services.org.
Explorer sets off on a trek to champion our green capital, part of National Park City campaign. An intrepid explorer has gone on a trek through the capital's parks, commons and leafy streets in the hopes London will become the world's first national park city. Donning walking boots, former geography teacher Daniel Raven Ellison, 37, set off from Enfield Island village with the aim of walking across all 32 boroughs, a total of 311 miles, with the finish line in Temple a month later. As part of his campaign, Daniel is championing more greenery, greater biodiversity and better air quality, in addition to encouraging all children to connect with nature. Borough councillors and community project leaders are walking with Daniel at various points along the route, and London Mayor Sadiq Khan has also given his support. The support of 86 more ward teams is needed to ensure that the capital earns the title of National Park City. Daniel said, "London is famous as a political, financial and cultural centre. As we approach Brexit, let's revitalise London's identity and make it a famous ecological centre too, by celebrating our outdoor heritage and incredible nature and environment institutions. The great thing is that anyone can be part of it. Just plant something or explore somewhere new. London is home to 4 World Heritage Sites, 3,000 parks, 30,000 allotments, 3 million gardens and 8.3 million trees, and plenty of wildlife from foxes to peregrine falcons to keep a sharp eye out for. Through the campaign, Daniel wants to make life healthier and more enjoyable to Londoners.
Creative Hub opens. If you're feeling blue, you can now head to a brand new Creative Hub to give yourself a buzz. The excitement was tangible at the launching of Wood Green's new creative workspace, Blue House Yard, on Wednesday, June the 28th. Community dignitaries mingled with musicians, storytellers, artists and so on at the renovated site, which is just 5 minutes walk from Wood Green Underground Station. Councillor Joe Goldberg, Cabinet Member for Economic Development, Social Inclusion and Sustainability, attended the launch. He said, "This evening has shown just how exciting the future of Wood Green is. It's a celebration of Wood Green's creative spirit, which remains authentically London. Blue House Yard is a unique, lively London destination where we can enjoy the talents of local people and their businesses. We have big plans for Wood Green, and Blue House Yard is another step forward, delivering the ambitious changes for our residents and what they have asked for." Singer-songwriters Noelle Woolsey and her partner Eden performed at the launch and will be based at Blue House Yard. Eden said, "This has given us an opportunity to develop our careers, but also to integrate with the community, which we love so much. Being from Wood Green, the development of the area is something we want to be part of. It's a cultural melting pot, and Blue House Yard exemplifies what can happen when culture and art come together."
Nursery's Happy 30th. Gina Ferreri opened her doors in the ground floor of her home to pupils aged between 2 and 5 years old in Morley Hill, Enfield, 30 years ago. Gina said the nursery school has been part of the community in Enfield for 3 decades, and the celebration was greatly enjoyed by everyone. "I have so many favourite memories. We are very privileged to work with the children at this wonderful time of their lives. Listening to the children sing in unison, watching them grow in independence, being forever surprised at the children's inventiveness, their refreshing perspectives and their great sense of wonder. A 3-year-old asked, "How do we think and dream?" She added, "Our nursery team have been with the school for many years and are truly thoughtful, an effective group for whom I am greatly appreciative. We are working with wonderful young minds that are evolving daily, and we have constantly to be up to the challenge. This inspires us to be forever mindful to notice, to make note and effect change as we strive to further understand what works for each of the children in our setting. There have been challenges to overcome over the 30 years' life of Gina's Montessori school."
Retirement Home Fate. A TV and radio presenter, writer and actor who is a musician to boot, lit up the room at a retirement home's summer fete. Mr. Rivron arrived at the Paddock Meadow Drive in Muswell Hill to entertain residents and staff at a tea party and open day, and members of the community were welcome to attend. After thanking his hosts for a lovely afternoon and the bunch of flowers he was presented with, Mr. Rivron said, "I really enjoyed the event. You have a great bunch of people at the paddock. Please don't hesitate to get in touch if there is anything I can do for you."
Another sporting item, Boss happy with squad. New Enfield Town manager Andy Leese has revealed that he is delighted with the way the squad is shaping up following another busy few days of transfer activity for the club. The past 2 weeks have seen Leese secure the services of a number of new faces as he puts together a squad he hopes will be capable of challenging for a promotion from the Bostik League Premier Division. Having confirmed 4 signings, the past 7 days have seen 3 more players join the club, with experienced striker Drew Roberts, forward Ryan Blake and midfielder Sam Youngs arriving at the Queen Elizabeth Stadium. The trio all played under Leese at Cheshire United, with the pacey Blake having joined them in the summer of 2014, scoring more than 20 goals during his first season with the Southern League Premier Division club. He then hit the national headlines by scoring the winner in Chesham's memorable victory at Bristol Rovers in the first round of the 2015-16 FA Cup. And he also found the net at the same stage of the competition against Peterborough United last season. The 26-year-old has also played for Hemel Hempstead, Tring, Aylesbury and Hayes and Yedding. Youngs, who is also 26, made his debut for Chesham in March 2011, and after a spell away, he returned to the club in 2015. The midfielder has had 3 spells at rugby and has also played for Hemel Hempstead, Banbury, Ware and Hales Owen during his career. Meanwhile, Roberts scored 56 goals, including 15 last season, in 95 appearances for Chesham, having played for numerous other clubs in his career. "I'm very happy to have secured some of the players I wanted to sign," Lee said. "I'm really pleased, and I think the squad is probably coming together better than I'd anticipated. There is some good quality here. I'm delighted Drew has agreed to join us. He's scored goals regularly at every level he has played at, and his consistency will give us a real threat in attack. He also has a fine work ethic, which Darren Purse, the assistant manager, and I are always looking for in any players we bring in." At our first training session, there was a good atmosphere. We had a look at some lads who we got in on trial, and a couple of them looked very interesting. Lees and Purse answered questions from supporters at a fans forum, and the manager was pleased with how the event went. "I was taken aback by how many people were there," he said. "I always knew this club had great support, and that just confirmed it. It was a really good night. There was generally a good atmosphere, and we were able to set out what we wanted to say and answer some very well thought out questions.
Now here's a letter from Matthew Reed, the Chief Executive of the Children's Society, and it's headed Help Needy Children. Every day, thousands of young people across London are helped to improve their lives by inspiring people who give up their time and volunteer for the Children's Society. I want to say thank you to all our volunteers and supporters for their incredible contribution and the huge variety of ways they give their time and voices to support our work with young people affected by issues such as abuse, hardship and neglect. The Children's Society volunteers, campaigners and supporters make an enormous difference by supporting young people directly in our projects, helping in our shops, raising funds and awareness of our work. If you would like to get involved, visit childrenssociety.org.uk/volunteer or call 0300 303 7000.
Police take video cameras on board. Police officers in Enfield will now be going out on patrol with body-worn video, BWV, cameras. BWV is being issued to about 560 frontline officers and community support officers in the borough. Additional cameras will also be available for specialist departments. The camera is attached to an officer's uniform on the chest to capture video and audio evidence in order to support vulnerable victims, help secure convictions in court, and increase transparency around police activity. It's part of London's investment in the new technology, with 22,000 cameras being deployed by all 32 boroughs by the end of the summer. Sergeant Doug Skinner said, "Body-worn video will be an invaluable tool for frontline officers and will make Enfield safer. The footage it captures at a scene will provide a compelling addition to the evidence we are able to present at court. Communities in Enfield should have increased confidence in our enhanced ability to support victims of crime and directly record criminal behaviour and its consequences. When the camera is recording, it is highly visible with a flashing red circle in the centre and a frequent bleeping noise when it is activated. Members of the public are told as soon as it is practical that they are being recorded. All footage recorded on BWV is subject to legal safeguards and guidance."
Recycling plant blaze. More than 70 firefighters tackled a blaze at a recycling plant where 500 tonnes of rubbish caught alight. 10 fire engines and 72 firefighters from Edmonton and surrounding stations fought the blaze in Thornton Road, Edmonton, on Saturday evening, June the 24th. The fire had been extinguished by 2:19 a.m. on Sunday morning. The cause of the incident is not yet known.
We've reached the end of our programme for this week. Thank you for listening. Just a reminder that the annual general meeting of the Enfield Talking Newspaper will take place at St Andrew's Church Hall, Enfield, on Monday the 24th of July at 7:30 p.m. You are all welcome to attend. So from the team of Janet, Sally, Colin and Keith and Robin on the controls, it's goodbye. Please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, close the memory stick and put it into the packet and return it to us as soon as possible, in readiness for the next edition. Don't forget you can call Diane de Jersey regarding any help you may require in connection with Enfield Talking Newspaper on 020 8805 6578. Coming up next, the latest news and information for the Greater London area from InfoSound. The Enfield Talking Newspaper will be with you again in 1 week's time.